afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Activated Journeys. I'm your host, Tia Nicole, and today we have a special guest. His name is Amos Williams Jr., and he is the CEO of A.D. Williams Enterprise. So, how you doing today?
Excellent, I must say. Beautiful day, so I'm doing good.
Yes, so thanks for joining us on the show. I appreciate you being here. So, tell me about A.D. Williams Enterprise. Like, so what is this?
It's a trucking company
Okay.
that I actually put together some years ago,
Okay.
and so I pretty much uh, we carry automotive parts for the most
Okay.
part. Particular, the main supplier is Ford Motor Company.
Okay. So, how did you get into the trucking business? How did you get started with all of this?
Wow.
Tough questions already.
Yes. Well, I come from a family of truck drivers.
Okay.
Uh, Started with my dad, and then his brothers
Mm.
um, were truck drivers. And so my dad started out working at Chrysler as a truck driver, and he moonlight or his second job,
Mhm.
he drove a straight truck
Okay.
and did small little deliveries. And then he progressed from a straight truck to his first rig.
Mm.
At that point, he decided, well, I need to get my own business. So he quit his job at Chrysler, and then from there he built it up to 2 trucks and 3, and then he went from 1 trailer to multiple trailers, and then he built his own little enterprise. And what I thought was interesting is that as a young lad, I used to drive with him,
Okay.
and that got me motivated. So he encouraged me to go to truck driving school.
Oh, so
Which-
father and son thing. Okay.
Yes, which I did. And then from there, at the time that I was going to truck driving school, I was working for the city. And with me driving with him, and then all his brothers were truck drivers, I felt I was in a dead end job.
Mm.
So at that point, I decided that that was what my career wanted to be, a truck driver. And so instead of just jumping out there, I took a leave of absence
Okay.
in the city 6 months because I had to see if I can make ends meet.
Exactly. You want to have a fallback plan. So you're like, inch on out there little by little. Okay.
Like the way you think. So took a leave. The city allowed for a leave for 6 months. Then I saw an opportunity to go work with my dad. And so that's when I left the city permanently.
Mm.
And then I started driving for him. I drove for him for about a year. Tried to learn all what I can, all the ins
Right.
and outs of what I need to know about the business. And then after some time, of course, there were some obstacles, some little hurdles that
Yeah, there always are.
I had to go through before I jumped out on my own. And so we left in somewhat of a, you know, peacefully.
Mm-hmm.
And then I bought my first truck in 2012.
Okay.
And then, as they say, the rest is history.
So you started your own company in 2012, and that's when you officially got out on your own from up under your father.
Exactly.
Okay. So from there, you said you have like deliveries for like automotive companies. Are there any other companies that you deliver for other than like automotive? Is it just mainly automotive?
Um, right now, it's mainly automotive, but during the early stages of when I started in 2012, we pretty much delivered mostly suppliers with that deliver to stores, so different
Okay.
commodities that you would get at stores. And then eventually I got a permanent um, deliveries with automotive
Okay.
parts. So mostly automotive parts now.
Okay. I actually would like to see the truck. Are we able to like go on a quick tour and take a spin around the city? Tell me what your typical day is like.
I'm so glad you asked. I would love to. So
Okay, you guys. So right now we're going to get ready to take a quick tour. We're going to see his truck, and he's going to tell us his typical day.
presently we're in the city of Melvindale. This is where I park my tractor. Typical work day is picking up a trailer. The computer system that you saw, which is called a quantum, it gives me my designation as far as where I'm taking the load or picking a load up at. This device here is very important.
So what is this intercom thing here? I see this. This looks interesting. Do you ever get to use this?
This, of course, this is a CB radio.
So you get to talk to other people on there?
Other
or-
truck drivers that's on the highway in particular. Generally, you can radio ahead to see if there's a backup accident, if you're lost, if you don't know a particular designation or a particular place where you're delivering at, you're not familiar with it, you can always radio ahead. And you speak on the radio. Pretty much, I have a handle. They call me the famous one. And I can pretty much just say this is the famous one.
Famous Amos, right?
The direction I'm going southbound or northbound. How about it? You want to know whether or not the police or the bear we call is in the area, or there's a backup. They can tell you whether or not you need to get off the freeway, detour, get in the right lane, left lane, what have you. So,
Oh, that's pretty cool.
this is a good friend of mine. This is what you call someone that got eyes ahead.
Ah, that's pretty cool. Like, a lot of times I'm on the road, and if my phone's about to die, that's my friend, my navigation, tell me if I'm lost. So I'm just hit if I don't have one of these radios in my car and I'm lost.
Yes, exactly. So now we're going on I-75 South. Southbound. Fisher Freeway.
Getting on the freeway, you guys. Woo!
Now, what's interesting as far as newer tractors is the air ride, because you're going to experience a lot of bumps.
Yeah, it's very jumpy.
Yes. But these seats are designed to, with shocks that would absorb or cushioning, the bumps and makes the ride a little bit more easier.
Okay. So what about this gear stick here? See you operating this quite often, so
If anyone familiar with a 5-speed stick in their personal vehicle, it's just a manual transmission, whereas that you work the gears to get the vehicle up to speed.
okay.
Typical tractor is 13 speed. So probably can't see this, but there's a gear pattern. You go through the 8 gears, called an overdrive. Just a button on the side. Once you flick it, then you can go as fast as 70 miles an hour, maybe sometimes 80, depending on what your engine is designed to do for the transmission.
So how, in the state of Michigan, how fast are these trucks allowed to go on the freeway?
Whatever the posted speed, generally 65 miles an hour. Truck speed, even though cars can go 70, generally here in Michigan, 65. Now you may go in Ohio, where the speed limit is 70 miles an hour. Further out west, California, Wyoming, Utah, 75. So like an aircraft, I can always say we're cruising at, let's say, about 65 miles per hour. I don't have to say altitude. But generally, you have to keep your seatbelts on.
Right.
The airplane is optional, but generally they'll say if you're still seated, they want you to have your seatbelts on. But oftentimes, once you reach cruising speed, you take your seatbelt off. That's not recommended in a truck. Because it is a violation. Up to $500. It depends on what the company that you contracted with. They have a zero tolerance. If you get a violation for not wearing the seatbelt, they can discontinue your contract. Void it out.
So there's no 3 strikes, you're out. It's one time you mess up, you out of here. Your contract is done.
For safety reasons.
Of course.
Oh, I need to add. This little device here, it's a no-no.
The handy dandy cell phone. It's a no-no.
There are some states that are banning using headsets while driving. They call it distracted driving. So what we have to do, I don't have my headset with me, but we have to wear a headset. So that means that hands-free from your phone.
Okay. That makes sense.
That's also zero tolerance.
Because I believe the state of Michigan made like a law like a few years back where you can't use your cell phone while driving in a regular car.
Yes.
When you're not even working, so it's like a state law for everybody.
Yes. A lot of states are now doing that, but for trucks, definitely a no-no. Cannot be a commercial driver. Have a headset to your ear. You have to be hands-free. So generally, that's what this comes in at. Cell phone holder. So the headphone there. And I am allowed to push a button to activate the call. And then I can push the button to end the call.
Okay.
Sometimes the headsets have a device where they answer the call as well as end the call.
Right.
We'll come up on the next exit, flip around, and then we can get back.
Hey guys, we are back from the tour. So we're just going to pick back up here and we're going to continue the interview. So, what are like some of the most challenging things about being a business owner?
Whew, that is a good question. What are some of the challenging? Well, for me, I have to say it's the process of getting the business started.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, one of the things, of course, you always hear, don't allow no one to stand between your dreams
Right.
or what you're trying to do. But one of the most important things with me is having the right people. You have to have a support group
Mm-hmm.
that would kind of like urge you on.
Yeah.
Um, Money is very important, so you have to have a financial.
Yeah.
You have to have a financial source, and just let me just say, one particular challenge in starting a business that I had is that a livelihood. You have to maintain a degree of livelihood as
Mm-hmm.
far as keeping your bills going, but at the same time, starting a business. And the problem that I had in 2012 when I got my first truck, uh, we needed to move, and so I was juggling whether or not to move and purchase a home or invest in the truck. The lesson that I learned is that you can't do two things. You either have to invest in your business
Mm-hmm.
because you're going to have some ups and downs.
Okay.
And I actually kind of went in the hole that particular year.
Okay.
And so that was one thing that that I learned, and a lot of people that go into a business is that you're going to have some growing pains.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have to invest all your time and your resources into that business if you want to be successful.
Okay.
So that was one of the challenges that I had, and it was a momentary setback. But I learned my lesson on that is that you have to really, I guess the best way to put this is that you can't put all your eggs in one basket.
Mm. You gotta leave your options open.
You have to leave your options open, and that was the one thing that I learned from there. To in that in my process of getting this business going.
Okay. So when you say you didn't keep your options open, like what exactly do you mean by that? Were there other opportunities that you should have kept open?
Well, anybody that knows about what it takes to buy a home and the money and what have you, but at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, uh, you need money also, especially in trucking. In the event of breakdowns,
Okay.
you might have problems as far as mechanical failure. And if you don't have nothing stored away,
I
uh,
see.
something a nest egg to something to fall back on,
Okay.
then you're going to come to problems.
Mm.
See, and then profit. Generally, when you start a business, you're not really going to see profits right away. I
I've
was just
heard that.
fortunate at the time. My wife was working, so that kind of kept things going. While I, you know, kept the business. So that's pretty
Mm-hmm.
much what. There's a lot of overhead. So
Okay.
that's the one thing that was, that you have to be mindful for. And any business person knows that you're gonna have a whole lot of overhead, and if you don't have nothing to fall back on as far as where you're going to recoup the money in the event that something goes wrong, and
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have problems.
I see. So what advice would you want to give others who want to start a trucking business or any business at all? What is the best advice that you would give people?
Best advice. I'm going to start out just to put your question in a nutshell. Timing.
Timing. Okay.
And what I mean by timing is don't let nothing come in between your dream.
Okay.
With me, I started too late to really to get what I always wanted to do started. I stayed too long in this dead end job.
Okay.
That's number one. Number two, you can't be afraid to fail.
Ooh, that's a good one right there. Being afraid to fail.
Failure comes after repeated attempts. And if I'm permitted to coin a phrase, is that success is the results of getting up, but you don't know until you try it.
Mm. I think I've heard that a lot growing up.
I used
You
to tell my
don't know until you try. Just, if you try it, then you can go on with life knowing that, okay, that didn't work. That wasn't for me. But you don't try. It's like you're 60, 70, 80 years old and you're like, oh, well, wish I coulda, woulda. You don't want that to be you.
That's it.
So listening to somebody from, older generation that's more wise, who's been there, done that, I think that's some pretty good advice.
Yes.
So how do people get in contact with you if they want to hire you for delivering their products? How do they get in contact with you?
Right now, and that's excellent question. I'm what you call a contractor.
Okay.
So I don't have per se business soliciting for services. So I'm contracted with a carrier because I don't have my own authority. But if anyone that would like some questions, like questions answered, as far as what it took, and then anything about that, I have an email that you can feel free to contact me on, and it's for you fame, FAME @comcast.net.
Okay. I thank you for sharing that. Is there anything else that you want to add?
Well,
Any lasting words or anything else you want to add before we leave?
don't have no regrets.
No regrets.
Yeah.
I like that.
And that's pretty much what I wish I was scripted more to say more. Thought I said enough here, and I don't know how well I did. But, freedom, you can't put a price on it. If you're stuck in a dead-end job behind a desk or whatever it is, to have the feeling of being independent, whereas that time, which you can't put a value on, time and freedom. If you can get the combination of those two, sky's the limit.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. That's all we have time for today here on Activated Journeys. Stay tuned to see what's coming up next week on Activated Journeys. Good night, everybody.